Is our least favorite rock collector really a god? What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Mind of the Madman. My name is Ruben, aka The Madman, and I am back again with a really great video for you guys today. Hopefully you all enjoy it. First, a few shout outs. This one goes out to my newest subscriber, a cool dude named Ashley. We had a few conversations ourselves, and we both noticed that we're big Marvel nerds. And up to now, I haven't done any Marvel theories, and by his suggestion, he said, why not do a Marvel theory? So here I am with that for you guys. Besides that, if you like this awesome, handsome hustler hoodie, I'm gonna leave a link in the description to my tattoo artist. He actually makes these hoodies as well as ones for women called Beautiful Pain. He's a really talented guy, and he's also a really cool dude. So if you want to support him, he's not paying me to say this. I'm just wearing his hoodie in this video, and I think he deserves a lot more attention than he gets. But besides that, let's get right into the theory. Before we start, I will say there are spoilers for Infinity War, and of course, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. If you haven't seen those movies, what are you doing with your life? But besides that, here's your spoiler warning beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So if you have seen Infinity War, then you know about a certain character by the name of Mantis. Now, Mantis' character, she really is not explained to her fullest extent as she will be in the comics in either of the movies, Infinity War or Guardians Volume 2. In Volume 2, we do find out that she is some sort of attendant for a being known as Ego. Now, Ego is a very special being in the Marvel Universe. He's known as a Celestial. Celestials are the closest thing we really get to gods in the Marvel Universe. There are multiple Celestials running around, Ego just being the one we see in the movies. We haven't gotten much true mention of the other except for a few hints and teasers about them, but we haven't seen any others besides Ego. Now, Mantis' main purpose with Ego was to help him sleep. Apparently, whether you take the direct explanation from the movie that Ego just couldn't sleep on his own, or look at the more deeper theories that he did feel guilt for his actions in the movie. I'm not going to go into too much depth to avoid too many spoilers, but he had reason why he did feel very guilty and couldn't sleep. So Mantis has a special ability where she can touch you and read your feelings, but also by touching you, she can put you essentially to sleep. There's actually a really funny scene from Guardians Volume 2 where she touches Drax and he literally falls flat out. We see during Guardians Volume 2 that Mantis was actually able to touch a nerve, so to speak, of Ego's brain and put him completely under. Now, this may not seem like a big deal since she does it to Drax so easily, but Drax is a regular mortal. Not human, but mortal. So it makes sense that her powers would easily overtake him and put him out. Now, a Celestial, a god, so to speak, should be able to withstand quite a bit, especially one who's trying to resist. But without much difficulty at all, she's able to hold him in his sleep for quite some time. In fact, he only wakes up because she's literally knocked out by falling debris. Now, this is a big deal when you move on to Infinity War. Now, during the big fight on Titan between Thanos, our favorite rock collector, it's my new nickname for him, and of course half the Avengers, including Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, the Guardians of the Galaxy, well, most of them, including Mantis, we see that they tried to put him to sleep using Mantis' power so they can remove the Infinity Gauntlet. The strange thing is, Thanos is able to resist her almost entirely. Now, we see very plainly Thanos shouldn't be considered a god or a mortal by any means, as Iron Man, just with a punch from his new armor, is able to make him bleed, which is, basically proof that he's not an immortal being or even a Celestial. If you look back to the comics, in fact, he's actually afraid of the Celestials in a sense, because they're the only ones who really could get in the way of his plans. Now, of course, Thanos' motivations in the comics are very different in the movies, so of course there's creative license involved. But Thanos by no means is ever inferred to be anything more than a mortal man with a mortal goal. But no matter the fact that Mantis is literally sitting on his shoulders, holding his head, does that show that he's any despite the fact that Mantis is actually holding his head literally on his shoulders. Mantis cannot put him to sleep. He's able to resist so well that just a light slight agitation was able to knock him out of her control. And of course, if you've seen the movie, and if you haven't, what are you doing? You're able to plainly see that that was their only hope of getting the Infinity Gauntlet off his wrist. So this leads to a very interesting question. We know that Marvel movies have taken many creative liberties as compared to their comic counterparts. We've seen how different the movie itself goes with the absence of certain characters due to licensing between Fox and Disney. We've also seen how different character motivations and actions are. This of course comes from the necessity of such changes for modern day movies compared to their comics when they initially were released. But this could be one of the biggest changes Marvel has made if it's a true theory. Now again, this is just a theory, but going forward it shows that Thanos is a lot more than the mortal man we think he is. It actually may explain why, if you notice, he's actually able to hold each Infinity Stone in his hand. Now, flashing back to the original Guardians of the Galaxy movie, we hear that holding an Infinity Stone in your hand and not being powerful enough to contain it, or not being in its proper container, would normally destroy most mortals. The only character we see interact directly with an Infinity Stone without damage to himself is Vision. But Vision is not a true living creature. He is a machine, I guess you would call him an android. So it makes sense that he wouldn't be directly affected as he has no mortal body to really speak of. But every other character is not able to hold on to the Infinity Stones for longer than a few moments. The attendant to the Collector held on to it just for a second and her body immediately started to break down. The same goes for Ronan the Accuser in the first Guardians movie. He held it just for a second but had to implant it into a hammer, a new form of container, similar to the Tesseract for the Space Stone, and the Loki's staff for the Mind Stone. It had to be put to a different conduit, otherwise he too would have been destroyed by it. We never see that being a problem for Thanos. He literally holds each Infinity Stone in his hand for a moment before implanting in the gauntlet. We know the gauntlet's made to focus all the powers together into one, but while holding each stone that he gets his hands on during Infinity War, it never bothers him in the slightest to have the stone directly in contact with his skin. This is actually an amazing thing for him, considering the Power Stone was shown to destroy every mortal that touched it. The only other to survive holding it was Peter Quill, Star-Lord, and that's with the help of more than one person holding it and sharing the burden. Now what this could mean in the Marvel continuity is maybe just a big change from the directors and just leaving it out and just trying to show how strong Thanos was. But what it also could mean if they chose to go this route, and where my theory steps in, the Marvel producers have decided to take a little bit more from the Infinity Gauntlet story that Infinity War was based off of, and give Thanos a bit more of an edge than he had before. Now, if you haven't read the Infinity Gauntlet series, I can understand it's a much older series, and it's quite different than what we see played on the screen, with a lot of similarities but a lot of differences. One major difference is Thanos' motivation for why he's doing it. They're not as lofty and as altruistic as you see in the movies. Originally, Thanos was doing everything he did to collect the Infinity Stones or as they call them in the comics, Infinity Gems, and wipe out half the universe, not to sustain resources and save the universe in his own way, but it was more along the lines of impressing Lady Death. Who is Lady Death? Lady Death is actually one of the aforementioned Celestials. She is a god of her own right, basically in charge of death in the Marvel Universe. Now, we never see her in the Marvel movies, in the MCU as we know it. Now, why? Could be because of the fact that there is a big tie-in with Deadpool, another character who has direct contact with Lady Death, because there is a love affair there, and Fox still owns rights to Deadpool, and somehow I doubt the MCU will ever have the movie Deadpool we've come to know from recent films. That may be why we won't have a Lady Death storyline in the current MCU, at least not yet. Although there was a small Easter egg in the first Avengers movies, where he said where Thanos heard the words, "To challenge Earth is to court death."
To challenge them is to court death.
that sick smile. I do believe that was a tongue-in-cheek way of nodding to the comic book storyline. But let's get back to the main theory here. Because we can't have a Lady Death storyline, and because we've only seen one Celestial thus far in the MCU in the form of Ego, it's a possibility that maybe they're hinting that Thanos is more than just immortal and has some godly or celestial background. Now this would make sense for a couple of reasons. Thanos has not seemed to age from his flashbacks and memories of what he was to the current MCU. He's also been the only character again to interact with the Infinity Stones and not be completely destroyed by them, handling them actually with relative ease, holding them in their hands as if they were nothing more than their shell forms in the form of the Tesseract, for example. Again, if they're going this route, it could explain why Thor needed a specific weapon to kill him, why he's still alive to this day, how he was able to immediately use the Infinity Stones. At this point, we know Thanos had never had his hands on the Infinity Stones before. If he had, he would have done his plan a long time ago. He knew of them and more than likely researched them with the help of his many minions, but he's never actually used any. Even Doctor Strange, first using the Agamotto, also known as the Time Stone, had to research and study how to use it. Now, Thanos is no master magician. He is just a man with a goal. So him being able to immediately pick up each and every Infinity Stone we see and use it to its full capacity as if it were nothing to him could hint that his background is a lot more than just the Mad Titan. What could happen from this, and it's been a running theory with a lot of other YouTubers out there, is that Thanos will not just be a simple hand-to-hand fight. And that's easy to expect in the MCU. We've seen that each movie not only has their action scenes and fight scenes, but quite a bit of character development. If Thanos is a Celestial, has some form of Celestial connection, maybe something similar to Peter Quill, and if the MCU is leaning off of the original storyline of the Infinity Gauntlet, because we can't have Lady Death giving Thanos some form of celestial powers or even godly powers of some type, this could mean that the battle with Thanos for the restoration of the universe and the undoing of the decimation could be a much bigger, more grand scale battle than we think. It won't just be Thanos against the world, not the Chitauri or the creatures that attack Wakanda against the Avengers and all of their minions. It may be something bigger, grander, and it could lead to what everyone's been speculating, that one of the Avengers will meet their end in this battle. Now, I'm not going to get into the theory of which one I think. I do have a few theories about that in my explanations I might make into a video for, since I kind of do enjoy the Marvel theories. I'm a big Marvel fanboy. But we'll get into that in maybe another video. But what do you think? Do you think Thanos is just a regular man with extreme luck and a lot of strength to hold an Infinity Stone? Or do you think the MCU and the directors are thinking maybe we should pull a bit of a fast one on everyone and show that the Mad Titan is a lot more than just immortal? Let me know what you think in the comments. Once again, thanks to my good friend Ashley for this suggestion to go into Marvel theories. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys have some feedback for me. Let me know what you think of this theory. Again, if you want one of these really awesome hoodies, check the description below. You'll find a link to my tattoo artist who makes these hoodies. He does accept PayPal and he does ship. So if you're interested, hit him up. He's a great guy. And if you're in the New York area, he actually would, I'm sure he'd be happy to give you some pretty sick ink if you like. I may do a video at one point just showing off my tattoos. I don't think anyone's really seen them other than brief flashes in previous videos. But if you're interested, I might make a video on that too. Until next time, guys, my name is Ruben. I am the Madman. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace.